What's up, guys? I'm Danielle Alvari from VSiN, reunited with Awesome from VSiN, Will Hill. No, not the sportsbook. You can follow him on Twitter at not the Will Hill. Will, how's it going? Final four time.
DA, what's going on? It feels like the college basketball season ended when you get all these games all at once with the conference tournament, the NCAA
Yep.
tournament, and then you get this little hiatus and you almost forget there's a few more games left, sort of like the Super Bowl when you get the break in between. But strange matchups, some fun matchups. Should be a really good Final Four. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I am dead inside still from the UCLA loss because it was particularly painful to watch. But nevertheless, we persist. I forget who tweeted this, but I saw someone say that these four games or this Final Four is sort of like the leftover Halloween candy, which I think is unfair. I think they're not giving these teams enough credit. FAU, 35 wins, the most in the country. And more importantly, you were telling me before we started recording that you were on them early. So you saw this coming.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those situations where I was on Gil's Megapod before. I picked him to go to the Final Four, had him in all my brackets to go to the Final Four, bet him 40-1, and I'm just every day I wake up kicking myself that I didn't bet more. So there's no happiness in this game, but it's been a great story. It's been a great run. They've really been in trouble every single game. Memphis was up
Yeah.
one with the ball with 10 seconds to go before FAU got a turnover. Even Fairleigh Dickinson had them, with a 5-point lead late in that game. Tennessee had a decent sized lead, and Kansas State, I think it was 57-50 with 7, 8 minutes to go, and it looked like the run was over. So this team is just so resilient. They've overcome so many different situations, and here they are, 2 wins away from winning a championship, which is just impossible to even think about.
This is the Cinderella that's left, obviously. I mean, there's other ones you can point to, but just to your point, the way that they've struggled to get here, and definitely a three-point shooting team, at least in terms of attempts. I mean, against Tennessee, they had, 17 and 50 attempts. Who's counting? I am always. But it's incredible what they've been able to do, and I think that these are the fun teams that people like to watch in March for that exact reason. They're splashy. They're going to shoot those three-pointers. They are one of the more balanced teams left. A UConn, of course, comes to mind, but this is the other one. They're 15th in points scored per possession and 20th in points allowed per possession. So a little offense, little defense going on. What did you like about them early that made you want to put them down as going to your Final Four?
I think all the reasons you just mentioned, they take a lot of threes, they
Balanced.
make a lot of threes, 4 really good guards that can handle the ball. Usually when you're a mid-major like they are, you don't have a 7-foot-1 guy like Golden like they do that can really play with a lot of skill and has been a big part of why they've won. So like you said, they're balanced, they make threes, they shoot threes, they're well coached. And I think that plays a lot into this matchup against San Diego State, because if you look at San Diego State, they have really throttled teams from the three-point line. Is that good defense? Is that the fact that they guard the perimeter and they're long? That's, I'm sure, some of it. But I think some of it is some variance, some luck where, look, when you're holding teams to 17% from the three-point line, I don't know how sustainable that is. So I think Florida Atlantic is going to get some threes to go down here. As well as Florida Atlantic has played in this tournament, they've turned the ball over a lot. They've really not shot great from three in this tournament, 30% from three. Maybe you get some regression here. I think a big part of this game is, how Florida Atlantic gets the three ball to go down.
Yeah, I'm thinking of, have you ever seen Along Came Polly, or just Rain Man? Like, I think that they're just going to chuck a bunch of them up. And the thing is, obviously, it's a much prettier shot than what we see in that movie, but they're going to take a ton of attempts, and some of them are bound to go in, even against the San Diego State defense. So you're talking about that regression possibly coming.
Along Came Polly reference was 30-1. I'm shocked that that's going to cash, but you never know what you're going to get.
I always, yeah, I have to include a movie reference here. And it's interesting because we've seen this line do all kinds of funky things here. This opened at 1.5 in favor of San Diego State, right? Moves to 2, and then moves back to 1.5. And now we're seeing it at 3 in favor of San Diego State. So you're getting 3 points with FAU. And you mentioned you would even possibly look at the money line here.
Yeah, I thought I saw some 1.5s pop up early where money was coming in on Florida Atlantic. Obviously, when you go from 1.5 to 3, that's a pretty big move. I'm guessing that's a syndicate or some sort of sharp move coming in on the 3. But to me, this is a toss-up game. Any sort of points I'm getting is a bonus for me. So I'll take the 3 and I'll take them on the money line. I think Florida Atlantic wins the game.
What do you think about this total? Because we're seeing it around 132, 131 and a half. And San Diego State has cashed the under in all 4 of their NCAA tournament games so far, and each of its last 12, by the way. So this is just an under machine. And again, this is because we're really relying on their defense here. So do you think we'll see another under in this situation?
That's probably the way I would go. They
You
can
had
get
to.
stuck a little bit offensively. They go through some droughts. I can remember a Boise State game where I had a live total over, and I just needed 1 point from them in the last 6 minutes, and they couldn't score. They go through some of these droughts. So to me, they're an under team. Remember now, we're playing in Houston. I believe it's Energy Stadium where the Texans play. It's a huge football stadium that can affect the shooting, affect the sight line. So I would expect a little nerves, a little, both teams tight early on, big stadium. So if anything, I'd go with the under. I prefer always to do first half under. I don't want to get caught up in the foul game. I don't want to get caught up in overtime. So, but if I had to play one way or the other, I'd probably play the under here.
I think I saw one of our VSiN experts give out the first half under. I was going to ask you about that because it could be a foul fest at the end. And one last question. I think this was something Greg Peterson pointed out. It could have been another one of our analysts, but he mentioned that maybe the Owls don't have a reliable shooter that they can count on to score late. Do you think that that's true, or do you think that they do have the shooters to get this done if it comes down to the wire?
Did he mean from the foul line?
Possibly, yeah. I mean, it could come down to free throws.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, Davis has made plays for them. I like Golden's game. There's 3 or 4 guys that I think, can shoot and make shots. They don't shoot free throws great. I mean, they were really keeping Kansas State in the game the other day. I forget the kid's name, but he's 64%. He kept running to the ball, asking for it in foul situations, and they kept fouling him. He kept missing. I'm like, dude, get away from the ball. You're running the wrong way. Run away from the ball. But I like this Florida Atlantic team. I think they win. I think they move on here.
Are you going money line, or are you going to take these 3 points?
It's a great question. I'm probably gonna take the 3. I'm probably gonna take the 3.
Not gonna get too cute with it, especially because you're getting 3 now. But if you guys didn't know, in case you missed it, we have a college basketball contest, and Will Hill just won it. So I'm hoping he's gonna come out to Vegas to collect his prize, because it's on my bucket list to watch a game with Will, just because he seems like he'd be a lot of fun.
I don't know about that. It depends how the game is going, how fun I am.
Fun for me to watch, at least. Fun to watch you go through the ups and downs of this March Madness. If you guys want any more information, make sure you subscribe to VSiN Live on YouTube and check out vsin.com. Thanks, Will.
No problem. Thanks for having me.